Can anyone can unmute and quickly introduce yourself so that we can get to know from which part of the country you are attending this session?
Hi, this is Anita. So I'm currently in the US Central Time Zone. I've come on a temporary travel, so I might resume from Bangalore as well. But at the moment, I am in US, Texas.
Great to know. So you're in auto testing industry or?
Yeah, I am an IT professional having 20 years of experience, but very little knowledge on automation. So I wanted to explore to see how it works for me. I have a high level understanding, but not much of hands-on. So I wanted to make my hands dirty and see how things work in automation. Although I'm a management professional, I just wanted to have a good hands-on and understanding on the automation. So I thought of exploring the option. So want to take up the demo session, and if I'm okay with it, I'll just get enrolled to the classes.
Great. So we have someone from 20 years with 20 years of experience joining the sessions. Great. How about others? Quickly introduce, guys. Uh,
Hi.
anyone?
Hi Rahul.
Yeah.
I'm Gaurav.
Yeah.
So I have total 7 years of experience. I'm from India only. So
Great to
I
know.
have 7 years of experience into manual only. So I want to explore into and join in shift job to automation testing. So that's
Great.
the reason I joined this meeting.
Great to know. Yes. Next.
Ye-
Anju, you are trying to speak. Yeah, Kishore.
Yeah, hi. I'm Anju.
Yeah,
I'm
hi.
actually from Switzerland, and yeah, have
Oh,
8 years of experience in testing. But then it's more of,
great.
yeah, but only on manual
Mm,
testing.
Great. Which part of Switzerland?
Zurich.
Oh, Zurich, the main city. Great to
Yeah.
hear. Great to hear then.
So
Great to
right
hear,
now I've
Anju.
taken a sabbatical of 2 years, and then yeah, I'm planning to get back to work.
Sure. That's good to know. We have one from India, one from Swiss, one from US. So how about others?
Yeah, hi Rahul. This is
So
Kishore Pali. I am from UK. So
Okay.
I'm currently on company visa here. So I'm working on manual testing, looking to learn automation testing to for my career growth.
Great, Kishore. Good to know. If you can mention how many years of experience you have with
Yeah, I
automation.
have 10 years of experience.
Oh, great. We have different, varied experiences. One at 7, one at 20, one with 10,
Yeah.
and another one also is 8. So that's a good number, guys. That's a good number. Anyone else quickly?
Hi Rahul, Anuradha here.
Hi,
Uh,
Anuradha. Good evening.
yeah, good evening. I'm from I joined from India only, like from Maharashtra, and I
Great to
have
know.
around 9 years of experience in testing, like little bit in automation, but
Mhm.
mostly in manual testing. So to explore in automation and get hands-on, like as per the industry requirement nowadays. So that's why I'm joining this.
Great to know. Great to know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hi.
how about
My name is Rajat, and I'm having close to 13 years of experience into performance testing. So I wanted to learn Selenium and automation. So I joined this class for that purpose.
great to know.
Yeah.
13 years of experience in performance testing. Which tool? Jmeter, LoadRunner?
Jmeter, LoadRunner, new load.
Okay, that's great. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
To hear.
Yeah, I'm based out of Pune. Yes.
Ah, based out of Pune. Great. One Maharashtrian, one Pune back to back.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, anyone else? Last 2 minutes, guys. You can quickly introduce. And for the people who have joined now, so quickly introduce yourself by stating your name, your place, how many years of experience you have, so that we can get to know about your experience in which part of the country or continent you are attending this session. Yeah, Monica, you can. Yeah, Monica, you can. You can go ahead. Yeah, Monica, you can introduce yourself. Okay. Quickly, guys. Last 1 more minute.
Rahul, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Monica. Tell me.
Hi. I'm from Germany. I
Okay.
worked as a manual tester in Accenture for 5.5 years.
Great to know.
So from last 2 years, I had taken break because I had a baby.
Oh,
So now I wanted to search for the job again. That's why I have
yeah.
joined in the automation. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Good to hear. Yeah. Anyone else, guys? Last quickly, last one or two.
Hey, hi. I am Jasmeet from Bangalore.
Oh, great.
I am a manual tester with an experience of 6+ years, and
Mhm.
I am looking forward to expand my knowledge on automation. So that's why I plan to learn Selenium.
Great to know. Yep. So for the yeah. So for the I request everyone to keep their mics on mute unless and until you are speaking something regarding the class. That's great. Thank you. And for the people who have joined, you can quickly drop in your intros in the chat box. Thank you all. So quickly confirm me, are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, if you are unable to unmute, you can you can drop your SS in the chat box, the yes. Okay. So this is always the question that we have in our minds, or this is always the question that we have in the current market. Why automation testing is important? Could anyone brief of why automation testing is important in the year 2025?
I think to reduce the employees, manual effort.
Wait. Give me a moment. Let me open the notepad file so that I'll make a note of all the points that you're saying. Yeah. To reduce the number of employees. Yeah. How about others?
To reduce the time to test many scenarios.
To reduce the time of the execution.
Yeah.
Great. How about others?
Check the stability of the system.
One after the other, please. Yeah.
Automation is mainly used for regression testing, where we can reduce, we can run the multiple scenario in a small span of time to
Okay.
get the stability of the system, so that we can go ahead for any further deployment and improve for our own production.
Great. How about others?
I believe it is to improve the test coverage and to provide more testing for every release.
Sorry, your voice is breaking. Could you repeat it, please?
I believe it's for improving the test coverage and to support every releases with a regression pack.
Okay, improve test coverage. Improve test coverage. That's a good answer. How about others?
Reduce the cost and increase the efficiency and to uncover the defects
Reduce
like
the cost and improve efficiency.
identify more issues in reduced quickly.
Identify defects at the early stages. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Yep. How about others? Last two more.
Reusability.
Okay. Reusability. Could you please elaborate on the point of reusability?
Reusability of the scripts, like you can run the same scripts many times. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can use the scripts at different like various tests, different functional tests. You can use the same part or same test.
Okay. Last one more, guys. Last one more.
Reduce the risk.
Reduce the risk. Okay. I guess I got the points what I required. Okay. So these are the views why automation testing is important, and even I also vouch for the same things why automation testing is becoming more and more important. And if you see from a project management perspective, you see this point, that is, you set the point, reduce the cost and improve the efficiency. This is one highlighting factor that every project manager would love to have. That is why automation testing is becoming more and more important. If you see that with less number of employees, with lesser cost, if you're improving efficiency, tell me which project manager doesn't love to have this. That is why it is becoming one of the most in-demand skill in the current testing industry. So I hope everyone are able to see this image. What can you infer from this image? What can you infer from this image? Quickly, guys, what can you infer from this image?
In the
So
first one, the time, I think it's taking more time and we are achieving less output. But here, we are doing multiple things using automation with, I think, in a shorter period of time.
Okay, that's great.
So in manual, the user is keeping more effort, whereas in
Mhm.
automation, he is not keeping much effort. He is enjoying little bit.
Okay, great. He's managing multiple tasks at a time. You can say that way. Okay. How about others? How about others, guys? Yeah, please, I request you to keep your mics on mute. Thank you. How about others? Last.
We can do the multiple execution like hybrid system so that we can execute the same test cases on multiple environments with multiple
Okay.
browsers.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, so the times is utilized effectively and we'll get the results quickly.
Great to know. So, what are the advantages of automation testing? They are reliable. What do you mean by the reliability point? They perform the same operations each and every time they are running, thereby eliminating human errors. Second thing, the repeatability, enabling the capability to test how the software reacts under repeated execution of the same operations. That means what? For example, you have an account and you're supposed to make some 1,000 payments to that particular account. If you are trying to make some 1,000 payments to that particular account, so we can understand how much time the execution is taking, how the application is behaving how the software is reacting when I'm putting so many executions on that particular software. So what do you mean by comprehensiveness? Provides the ability to build a suite of tests that covers every feature in your application. That means what? We can cover each and every corner, each and every feature of your application. See, I've always told you the catchy point, ability to run more tests in less time with reduced team size. This is one of the eye-catching points for any project manager or any company, because if you can run more test cases in less time with a better efficiency, then why not implement this process in our company or in our project? Reusability. Someone told about reusability. So we can rerun the same test cases on different releases, even if the UI changes slightly on different versions like release 1, release 2, release 3. We can run the same automation scripts on different releases, although the UI changes slightly, but we can still run the show. Programmability. It also helps us in bringing out some hidden information from the application. Like for suppose, if the login animation, like when you're trying to log into the application, the login animation is taking around 5 seconds to load, but for suppose it has taken some 10 to 15 seconds to load, that is a problem. I mean, from up to a naked eye, it doesn't seem like a problem, but it could be a problem down the line. So these kind of hidden information about the application, you might get it also with automation testing. And also the speed. The main factor is speed because they run significantly faster than manual processes. Since they run faster than manual processes, then you will have a crazy cost reduction. Got it? Since you can run more tests in less time with reduced team sizes, then the cost will also be reduced drastically. Give me a quick why in the chat box if everyone is agreeing with me on these points, or if anyone want to add on these points. Give me a quick why in the chat box. Manoj, you can't hear me. How about others? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Manoj, I guess you have to pick your mic. Yeah. Give me a quick why in the chat box if everyone is clear with what advantage that automation offers us. Forget about which tool are we using and all. First of all, automation as a whole, what kind of features are we offering? Are we clear with it? Give me a quick why in the chat box. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And also, resource optimization. Like we have also discussed about the wider test coverage. That means what? Scope to create a large number of complex automated tests along with their execution repeatedly over a period of time. That means what? If more number of cases are automated, then the manual testers can expand their range of testing. That means what? They can go for more corner scenarios, more edge scenarios, more coverage so that we can get less number of defects in the UAT. And when you talk about accuracy, we will have a greater precision and lower errors than manual testing. So what do you mean by effective test management? Enables the test to be traced, updated, and reused in the future. So the same automation scripts can be reused on a different products which are having the same functionality. Yes or no? We can use this reuse the same scripts on different products having the same functionality. Is this clear? Any doubts so far? Any doubts so far? So resource optimization, that means what? Frees testing resources from the test execution of software builds that are frequently given by the dev team. What do you mean by that? Now, when the application is during the development stage, we should test the smoke suit regularly. We have to test the smoke suit on a regular basis. So it is very difficult as an employee to wake up in the midnight and do the smoke testing, or during your office hours, you have to spend around 2 to 3 hours to test the smoke of the application is working properly or not. It will be a very difficult ask. So with the help of the automation, when we start building some robust scripts, especially for the smoke suit or something, then you need not worry about executing the smoke suit regularly. The automation suit will run after the build is triggered, and it will keep on executing for how many times you want, and you can share the results automatically. Yeah. So these are the advantages that we have for automation testing. You can also do a lot of multitasking. When we have automation in place and if it's robust enough, you can do a lot of multitasking in your company. And also see this graph. This graph is nothing like specific to any project. This is a very generic graph. So if you see this graph for yourself, the moment you start implementing automation testing in your project, so definitely you can see a lot number of hours, man hours being reduced. Yes or no? Like if you want, I'm talking man hours in terms of like you have to test the test case, you have to prepare a report, you have to capture the screenshots, you have to store it properly. Because all our testing relies on evidences. Because if you don't submit any evidences, then the next question that we'll be encountering is, did you test the application properly? I don't believe so. This is the thing, right? Tell me any project which does accept testing without any evidences. There's no project in the world, right, that doesn't accept without evidences. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
So that's the thing, guys. Now, since we are all entering into automation, I want to set some 5 different rules. Top 5 lessons or top 5 rules. I want to set it up for from the next career option that you're taking. You have to understand 5 different things about automation testing. First thing, don't automate a mess. Since we know automation testing on a certain tool, don't automate a mess. Create your automation scripts in a robust, understandable, and readable way. Avoid complex logic in your scripts. That means what? Write the logic, write the required assertions in your script. Don't try to overdo things. Don't try to overdo things. 100% automation is not at all possible. Even tomorrow, if I say 100% automation is possible, don't believe it, guys. 100% automation is not possible because we cannot automate OTPs. We cannot do any image processing related stuff. We cannot automate the captchas. We cannot automate some scenarios. So 100% automation is never ever possible. And beware of automation engineers who don't understand testing. What do you mean by who don't understand testing? If they don't understand the sprint methodology, the waterfall, the agile, if they don't understand what is a test case or a test scenario, then it's no use. Because before becoming an automation engineer, you need to be aware of this terminology and need to understand the domain of the application. There are certain things. Then only you become an automation engineer. And the fifth thing is test automation is a software development process. That means what? We are also writing a code here. We are also building a framework here. The sad part is we are only developing and we are only testing it by ourselves. Because for a developer, in order to test their product, we are there to test their product. For our automation script, there's no one to test. We have to develop it and we have to test it. And it is a very continuous process. This is also software development process. This is also takes some time to nurture, to nourish things. It also takes some process. So these are the 5 things that we need to remember for sure, that we are not a magicians. Sorry? Sorry, Shalu? Yeah. I hope everyone is clear with this. Give me a quick why in the chat box. Or if you feel like something is wrong and if something you feel like you're not clear of it, you can unmute and you can ask. Hope everyone is agreeing with me on this. Give me a quick why. Great, great guys. I want more whys, more yes. And if you also see the cumulative cost when we see having only manual testing in the project versus having a mix of automation versus manual. If you see, if you have only manual testing at the initial stage, we feel like, okay, we are spending very less cost on the project. That's great, fantastic. But on the due course of time, what's happening here is, on the due course of time, what's happening here on the due course of time, gradually the cost of the project will increase, because once the project is approaching the go live date, what is happening? We tend to add more people from different projects, and in that way, the number of man hours for that particular project will increase. So that is a problem. That will be a problem again in the future. So that is the reason manual testing will become a very big overhead during the production time, during the UAT time, because we tend to add more and more testers so that the activities can get completed quickly. Whereas when it comes to automation testing, we feel like at the initial stage, it's taking more time to get nurtured, to get matured and stuff. But if you see over the long run, the scripts get robust and mature, it will save a lot of time on the redundant tasks, and you can focus on something creative task. Testing more tricky scenarios, testing more complicated scenarios, complex scenarios where the redundant scenarios will be done by automation testing. That is why you need to put automation testing into your system. Is this clear, everyone? Any doubts?
No.
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear.
I have a question over here. In case of UAT for automation testing, so do we show them how that automated framework that we have created
No.
works, or for
During
UAT
the
people,
during the
UAT
UAT
people?
testing, the UAT people, what they want is reports. Like when we say the test case is failing in their environment, and we say the test case is passed in our environment, so we can share our automation report to them. They don't look into our framework or something like that, unless and until the client is so specific about, I want to know what's happening in the automation. In most of the cases, they want automation to be in their system, so that once the product is about to go live, they can execute their own smoke tests, they can do their own regression testing. But not most of the clients will delve into the technicalities of what framework we are using it. Okay.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask. So when you said reports, when some places client want us to do the UAT, they
Yes.
will we will give them a set of scenarios. We will perform certain tests in front of them, or they will ask certain scenarios to be executed at that very moment with
Yes.
their requirement, if we have covered those or not. So
Yes.
just wanted to ask, if in case of automation, when we are performing UAT, we would be going for the manual one only, even though we would have automated certain things at our system.
Yes. Yes,
Fine.
absolutely. I will agree with it. But the thing is, whenever we are giving a new build to UAT, it is our sole responsibility to do a sort of smoke testing, right? So you cannot sit and do the smoke testing in the UAT all the time. That is where automation will help you in picture, and you can also do some mini regression testing before you hand over to the customer. In those areas, automation testing will be more than helpful.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So I have another question for you. I'll spend the next 5 minutes for this topic. Are you able to see my screen, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. So we know why automation is important. What are the advantages of automation? How it saves cost, how it saves time, how it maximizes the testing processes. Yeah. And one more myth in the market that is happening is if automation is then manual testers are being replaced. That is the biggest myth, guys. Here, automation is here to improve the testing process. We are not going to replace any manual tester. We are here to improve the testing processes. We are here to improve the testing efficiency. That is the major agenda of automation testing. Got it? So, what are the different automation tools that we have in the market? Different automation tools in the market. So, just name them. I would like to start with Selenium. You can start naming whatever automation tools you know in the market.
UFT, QTP,
Okay.
QTP.
RPA, UFT, QTP. All are from the same vendor. Yeah.
Tosca,
Tosca. Amazing. Great.
Playwright.
Okay. That's great. What else?
Python?
No, Python is a programming language. I'm not talking about programming.
Catalan Studio.
Catalan
Catalan
Studio.
Studio.
Okay. Catalan Studio. I need 4 more guys.
Test complete.
Okay. Test complete. Yeah. Great. What else?
Appium.
Appium is again a part of Selenium family. I will not
Selenium.
take that.
APM.
APM is not part of your. So it's a web mobile automation tool. It's a part of
Okay,
Selenium
okay.
family. Okay. Any other tools, guys?
Jmeter.
Jmeter is a performance testing.
Test partner.
Sorry?
Test partner.
Test partner. I'm hearing for the first time. Okay. What else?
Kafka.
Sorry? Kafka is a queuing mechanism. That's not your automation tool. Kafka is a queuing mechanism.
Espresso.
Huh?
Maven.
Maven is not your automation tool. Maven is a build tool. That's not for our automation specifically.
Eggplant.
Hmm?
Eggplant.
Eggplant. Yeah. Last one more, guys.
Proverb.
Proverb is only for Salesforce based applications, and it's a paid one also. Okay. For Salesforce based applications. Yeah. Now I have the required automation tools that we have in the market. You can also say test trigger. Test trigger you can say, or you can say AxleQ or functionalize. There are a lot of tools. Okay. Yes. Now I have the right tools. Now UFT, RPA, QTP is a paid tool. Got it? Tosca is also a paid tool, which has a trial of 15 days. Got it? Test trigger is also a paid tool. Paid tool. It's a paid tool. Again, Proverb is also a paid tool, not completely open source. It's a paid tool if you want to explore the complete features of it. Test partner is also paid. Test complete is also paid tool. Test partner is something. Test partner is something I'm hearing it for the first time. And Catalan Studio, only the basic features are free. In order to explore the full range, in order to explore the full range of the tool, we have to go for the paid version. Got it? Got it? So this is we have segregating out all the paid tools from the market because already you are implementing automation to reduce time and effort. And if you are putting another extra efforts, okay, if you are putting another extra efforts to pay for the tool, another extra money to pay for the tool, most 80% of the companies are not interested to put some additional efforts on the additional money on the automation tools. Got it? Got it, everyone?
Yes. How about Cucumber?
Cucumber is a library.
Okay.
Rahul, all these are belonging to UA automation tools.
Yes.
Okay.
Eggplant is again a paid tool. The trial period is only for around 30 days, but you can have to go for a paid tool. Because when we are talking about organization level, they won't allow trial for a longer time. They will immediately block it. Once they get to know that you install in your organization level, no, they'll immediately block it and they'll say like you have to pay for the services. Okay. Test partner is something that's new for me, and I heard it for the first time. So I have to do some research on this. Rest of the tools I know I've worked on it once in a lifetime. So it's a free tool. It's free, or you can say open source. And if you say Cypress, partially free. I don't agree with Cypress. It's open source. It's a partially free tool. It's a free or open source tool. Okay.
Rahul, Serenity is a
Serenity is again a library that doesn't come under automatic. See, TestNG, Cucumber, Serenity, these are all your libraries. These are not your automation. Because the Serenity, TestNG, Cucumber, these don't interact with the browser, right, to automate your test cases. So now we have segregated to 3 open source tools. Because as a manager, if you see 90% of the companies, even when you go for Microsoft or even go for a ThoughtWorks or Walmart or something, they always prefer to go for the open source. Because why I need to invest more on the paid tool? Because even the Eggplant tool or the Test Tracker tool or whatever tool you mentioned, it will cost around $4,000 per month. And if you want to do parallel execution on this tool, for every machine, they'll charge a bomb. So Ken, I'll tell you the differences, but this is not the right time to tell you the differences between TestNG and Cucumber. This is too early for me to explain. Okay. Now, what are the different open source tools that we have? Now we have classified what are the open source tools that we have. One is
one moment.
sorry?
IntelliJ, that is a tool.
That is an editor.
Editor.
Playwright.
These are the 3 open source tools. But Cypress, again, I'll say it's a partially free tool. Partially free. It's not completely open source because there's another thing called a Cypress Pro. If you go to Cypress Pro, then you can do parallel execution. Because if you want to do parallel execution, you have to take extra money for you have to pay extra for those machines. If you want to run in parallel, if you want to run in multiple, you have to pay extra for extra. You have to pay extra for those machines. If you have to pay extra money for extra threads. Got it? So if you ask me the complete open source tools, it is Selenium and Playwright. These are the 2 tools that are leading in the market across the continents. And these are the 2 tools that has more job opportunities. Okay. Because Cypress supports only TypeScript and JavaScript. And that's not a friendly tool also. Trust me. Once Playwright has evolved in the market, Cypress market is completely gone. It's a disaster. For the companies who are implementing Cypress, they're all migrating to Playwright or Selenium. Okay. So what is Selenium all about? Let me give a quick introduction about Selenium. Open source tool supporting various programming languages like Java, Python, Ruby, Perl, etc. Supports multiple browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Safari. Yeah. Minimum hardware required, flexible to use, supports parallel execution, easy to integrate with any third party tools. Only tool recommended by W3C. Can anyone tell? I hope everyone knows what is W3C, right?
It's a release of Selenium 4.
Sorry, Selenium 4 and W3C are not interlinked. W3C is World 3 Consortium. So this is a community that will decide which websites to keep on and running over the internet. If they find that something is malicious, they'll immediately bring down the website. This is a community, and this community has certified Selenium as one of the most secure tool for automation testing. Since it's one of the most secure tools, you can use them same in the client VMs or the client virtual machines or any production machine also. Selenium is one of the most preferred tool because it's the tool recommended by W3C. It is recommended by a global community and it is there for past 20 years. It's not a joke. It started in 2004 and it's continuing go on and on. And within 4 or 5 months, you will see Selenium 5 coming into picture also because it's 50% completed, Selenium 5. And you will see another 50% of Selenium 5 be coming ready. Got it? What do you mean? What do you discuss about Playwright? See, Playwright, all the above features are applicable here. But one thing we need to understand it is it's developed by Microsoft. So when we say it is developed by Microsoft, it can be a paid tool soon. Okay, it can be a paid tool in the market very soon because if they see that many people are using Playwright now, they can make it as a paid tool anytime sooner. Selenium is backed by a community of developers. They're not backed by any organization. There are a lot of open source, lot of developers who are contributing to this project for Selenium. Playwright is that's not the case. A lot of Microsoft developers are contributing to the project. Got it? And it works on the concept of CDP. What do you mean by CDP? Chrome DevTools Protocol. I'll explain you what is this Chrome DevTools Protocol later, but works on the concept of CDP and not a recommended tool from a W3C perspective. Got it? Even though the tool is new in the market, but this is not a recommended tool from a W3C perspective yet. Clear? And it does not have its own Selenium grid. It is still relying on some internal libraries of Selenium. So is this clear, guys, the differences between the Selenium and the Playwright? The thing here is internally Playwright is like will act like a wrapper around Selenium libraries for some of the concepts. Not completely is now Playwright is not completely a fresh tool. It acts like a wrapper around Selenium. There are a lot of functions that are built as a wrapper around the Selenium. So Selenium is only tool recommended by W3C from an automation perspective. That means it is secure, its data integrity is never lost, and it works the same way across different browsers. I hope everyone is clear with all these points. Give me a quick why in the chat box. Okay, so this is the thing about Selenium and this is the thing about Playwright. So Cypress is outdated, guys. Cypress, majority of the companies have dropped Cypress because it has a lot of disadvantages. It's seriously a highly disadvantageous tool. Okay. So this is a quick intro about what is automation testing and what are the different tools in the market and why Selenium is the right tool to be used in any of your projects. Okay. So let's see through the course content of what are the contents we are covering. Give me a moment, please. I hope everyone is able to see this slide.
Yes.
That's great. So let us see what are the different concepts. Yeah, OnePlus, please hold on for a moment. Give us the time. We'll let you know. So what are the different core Java concepts we are covering? We are covering variable right from the scratch, like what is system.println, What are the different way? How do we declare the variables? What are the different string functions, string builder, string buffer, the conditional statements, the looping statements, like the constructors, method declarations, switch, enum. We will be seeing all different kinds of functions here, all different kinds of concepts here. Then we'll be seeing what is arrays, what is the collections. Yeah, I request everyone to keep their mics on mute. So we'll be covering what is 1D array, what is 2D array, what is 3D array, what is a list, set, map. DQ is a new collection in JDK 21, and there's another concept called the sequence collections that is the latest in JDK 21, queues and more. So what is inheritance? What is interfaces? This is important concept of the basics of inheritance. What is super keyword? What is interface? What are the different types of interface? What are the different types of inheritance? How we can use super keyword at constructor level, at the meta level? How do you use all basis? Then we will see some intensive sessions about lambda, streams, and Lombok expressions. This is very, very much important in the current market when we are approaching for automation as a SD or normal automation test. The lambda, streams, and Lombok expressions are gaining a huge amount of importance. Then different kinds of files operation. Yeah. Since I'm not aware of some of the topics, yeah, Monica, if you don't understand some topics, that's great, but I'm just trying to showcase you what kind of topics we are covering on in a general basis so that you'll understand what are we covering in the future sessions. Got it, Monica?
Yeah, Rahul. Actually, when I saw in the, I mean, what you have published for the course, right? So I don't know what some of the
Yeah,
like
if you don't know
VDD
the term,
something.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you don't know
yeah.
the terminology, still fine. Don't worry. I'm just going through the contents that I'm teaching because initially we have to tell you what are the different contents we are teaching it up so that you'll understand what is what. If you don't understand also, just make a note of it. We will get it clarified later. Don't worry.
No, not the ones which you are explaining right now. I'm talking about the complete course curriculum, what you are going to tell us in the future session.
I'm telling you the complete course curriculum because core Java is the fundamental for any automation testing. So I'm going through the automation, I'm going through the core Java concepts, what I'm teaching, so that you will get to know what are the essential topics. Then step by step, I'll go to Selenium, test, and I'll go step by step. Don't worry, Monica.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So what are the different file operations that we need to know? How do we write the data to the file? How do we read the data from the file? How do we copy the files from one location to other location? What are the different file functions that we need to know? Then exception, super important stuff. Like how do we use a try catch block? The purpose of finally block, multiple catch blocks with one try block. What is checked exception versus unchecked exceptions? Compile time versus runtime exceptions. How do we handle the errors at the runtime? And also records and optionals. This is gaining somewhat importance when we are preparing frameworks for automation testing. This will add additional dimension to your existing framework. We can see optionals, we can see a records concept, seal inheritance and interfaces. We will also be sharing you some lead code questions for practice, and also we'll be sharing you some 250 plus coding questions for practice on a topic wise. I mean, overall, we'll be sharing you around 250 plus questions for coding questions for practice, and also we'll be providing you some lead code questions like the common questions that we have from the recursion point of view, from a string point of view. Also, how do you rotate a string? We'll be covering some lead code questions also in the class, and also I'll be sharing you some assignments of commonly asked lead code questions in most of the companies so that you can also practice on those, because the first round for any interview for automation testing is the coding questions. So that is why I'm specifically curated some questions from different interview panels, and I'm sharing those questions. I will share those questions with you.
Hello.
Yes.
Rahul, assignments will be for every topic, or I mean,
Every topic will be sharing some assignments. Like for variables, if you discuss cover finish variables, then we'll be giving you an assignment for variables. For strings, we'll be giving an assignment for strings. For
okay,
constructors, for strings.
okay.
Okay. Now let us see what are the different concepts we'll be covering here with Selenium with respect to Selenium. So what are the basic fundamentals of Selenium? So we'll be seeing how do we set up a project, like what is Maven? We'll understand what is a Maven. How do we add dependencies to the Maven project? What is the advantages of Maven over Gradle? What is Maven profiling? How do we trigger test cases through Maven? What is a properties file? Then we will try to understand the Selenium architecture, because whenever we are working with any tool, it is equally important for us to understand the architecture of the Selenium. So I'll be explaining you what is the architecture of Selenium 3 versus Selenium 4. We'll be understanding about the architecture of Selenium tool and how it has evolved over the recent times. And we will be seeing how do we launch the browsers in different ways, because we can launch the Chrome browser in 4 different ways. We can launch the Firefox browser in 4 different ways. We can launch the Edge browser in 4 different ways. We can launch the Safari browser in 4 different ways. And we'll be discussing in depth about the Windows switching and Windows handling. Like how do we create a new tab? How do we create a new window? How do we launch multiple tabs and windows? How do we switch between multiple tabs and windows? And how do we launch the tabs in using the older way, like using the JavaScript way? How do we launch the tabs or windows using the JavaScript mode? And we'll be extensively covering about different locators, where I'll be discussing about ID, name, class name, link text, partial link text, tag name, and we'll be having some exclusive sessions only about XPath and CSS selectors, because these are one of the prime locators that we use in automation testing on a regular basis, and there are dedicated sessions only for these locators, because these are the most powerful locators in the Selenium, and we need to know in depth about these locators. And when it comes to the Selenium 4 locators, in the latest release, we have 4 new locators added. 2 above, 2 below of, 2 right of, 2 left of, straight above, straight below, straight left, straight right. We have added, there are another 4 more additional locators in the latest version of Selenium. So total, we have 8 different locators in Selenium 4. Like the locators that I've discussed prior is another set of locators, especially when you're working with Selenium 4. These are another set of locators that we have in the latest version of Selenium. And we'll be discussing the different browser actions, like how do we click, how do we enter the data, how do we select the drop-down values, how do we fetch the text from the application, what is this get attribute and why it is deprecated, and is displayed, is hidden, get CSS value, get tag name, get area role, how do we handle the web tables, different kinds of Selenium actions you'll be seeing. And we will be covering the different wait conditions. What is implicit wait? What is explicit wait? What is fluent wait? What are the different, how do we customize our own wait commands apart from using the above 3? Then we'll be seeing a separate special library in Selenium called as actions class, where we'll be seeing different actions like click, double click, send keys, context click, move to element, click and hold, drag and drop, scroll to elements. How do we perform the different keyboard operations? And we will be seeing how the different JavaScript executor, because this library has a lot of functions, and we have a one whole dedicated session of how to use JavaScript executor. That means for how do you execute JavaScript commands onto the browser via Selenium. Okay. And we will be seeing how do we capture different kinds of screenshot at an element level, at a browser level, using the A shot library. How do we capture a screenshot? If we want to record the execution, how do we use Monte Recorder? And we can see how do we handle frames by ID, by name, by element. Okay. And we'll also see other topics like shadow frames, upload and download of files. How do we handle browser related pop-ups? How do we handle sliders? How do we authorize the browser? What are the different Chrome options, Edge options, Firefox options, desired capabilities, killing existing browsers via command line, How do we use Selenium Grid? I forgot to mention Selenium Grid, but we are also covering Selenium Grid in this session. How do we cover Selenium Grid? And all these topics will be covered. Any doubts in Selenium so far? With respect to Selenium, anyone has any doubts?
Hey, Rahul, one quick question. Do you explain how to build a framework?
That is the next point. That's the next topic. With respect to Selenium, you are clear?
Yeah. Yeah.
Rahul, what I heard about headless browsers.
That is a
it?
part of Chrome options.
Okay. It's related to Selenium only.
Yes, it's related to Selenium only. We can do that in Firefox, Edge, wherever you want.
Okay. Fine.
Um, uh, will you cover Selenium Grid as well?
Yeah, as I've told you at the last, I'll be covering Selenium Grid also.
Okay.
What was the frames and screenshots like? Will you be teaching us how to create a framework from scratch?
Swati, could you be more louder?
What was that frames and screenshots? Will you be teaching us how to create a framework from scratch?
Yeah. That is a given, but try to understand only from a Selenium point of view. We have a lot of topics to discuss again. But from Selenium point of view, I hope is everyone clear? The frameworks part, I'll be showcasing you what are the different frameworks we are covering.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
clear.
Good so far.
Now, what are the different topics that we are covering? We are covering with respect to TestNG and BDD Cucumber. Now you'll see how do we write test
Rahul,
cases.
what all frameworks you are going to cover?
You just give me 2 minutes. I'll be showcasing you what kind of frameworks we are showcasing. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So, how do we write test cases? What are the different annotations? How do we create dependency between methods? What are the TestNG attributes, soft and hard assertions, event firing decorators? How do we group test cases? What is meta grouping? How do we use regular expressions using the grouping? And how can we use data provider using the hard coded, using the CSV format, using the Excel format, using JSON? How can we use this as part of a data provider? Data provider means that we are providing the test data to the test cases. And what are the different listeners that we need to know? WebDriver event listener, iSuite listener, iAnnotation listener, iMethod interceptor. How do you create your own custom listener? What are the different listeners that we need to know? And how do we put it in a real-time framework? These are the components. These are the individual components that we need to discuss at first before designing any framework. Then we'll be seeing what are the different concepts about Cucumber, creating a new feature file, scenario versus scenario outline, runner files, parallel testing, Pico container, Cucumber annotations, hook class, background, step definition. How do you share your reports on the Cucumber cloud? Yeah. What is scenario templates? And how do we integrate your Cucumber with JUnit as well as with TestNG? If you ask me which is the right one, using Cucumber with TestNG is the right one because it gives you more flexibility and more advantages compared to JUnit, because JUnit is a unit testing framework that was predominantly used to do some unit testing only, not your regular regression or end-to-end testing. Then with respect to API testing, we'll be covering a lot more details about API testing. So just park the API testing for a minute. I have a separate slides for this. I'll showcase you what are the exact topics we're covering for API testing. Then we'll be seeing what are the different Excel operations we are covering. How do we write the data to the file? How do we read the data from the file? How can we use cell style for Excel formatting? How do we use the Excel operations via data provider? And what is a properties file? How do we read the values from the properties file, write the values to the properties file, maintain different files for different environments? How do we create a master slave mechanism? What is a real time? How do we use this properties file in a real time usage? And we'll be covering different reports, that is extent reports. We'll be covering extent reports version 4 and version 5. Yeah. We'll be covering extent reports version 4 and version 5. And we'll also be seeing some earlier reports via TestNG and via Cucumber. And for the someone asked me what kind of frameworks we'll be seeing. See, Keyword-driven framework is outdated, but I can just give you a template of how to create a keyword-driven framework. Data-driven framework is something I'll show. Linear framework, modular framework, BDD approach framework, and hybrid framework. These are the main frameworks that we are going to cover here. Keyword framework is somewhat outdated, but I would like to give a small glimpse about how a keyword-driven framework looks like. Because if someone asks you what is a keyword-driven framework, you should be in a position to answer it. So that's the reason. What I'm saying is, I'll be showcasing your template. Like we'll be covering in depth about data-driven framework, hybrid, and BDD. Linear and modular is something you'll understand when we discuss Selenium. When we discuss on TestNG, you'll understand what is linear and modular framework. Okay. These are the different varieties of framework that we are planning to cover in the next due course of time. I hope I've answered most of your questions with respect to framework, with respect to TestNG, Cucumber.
I have one quick question. So, like, when we have a project, we need to build some kind of a folder structure. Within that folder structure, we'll be copying all the libraries. So, my question is more towards like how to build that kind of framework to execute our project.
In order to build that kind of framework, we need to be very, very strong in our fundamentals like core Java, TestNG, Selenium, or TestNG or Cucumber. We need to be strong in our fundamentals. That is the first step. If you are strong in our fundamentals, then you can understand how to interlink all these things in a framework. That is what I'm going to demonstrate. After I finish the fundamentals of Java, after I finish the fundamentals of Selenium and TestNG, you will be seeing how do I link up all the things in a data-driven framework. You'll be seeing it live, how we will link up all the things. Because these fundamentals are very much important. If you don't know what is inheritance, then you cannot inherit the code, right? You cannot use a constructor, right? So these are the certain things we are focusing in depth. If all your fundamentals are clear, then you are given a green signal to start designing any framework.
So the flow, you are saying that first you will teach the fundamentals and then you will get into the Selenium.
Yes. Yes.
You know, like how long you will take to complete?
Well, the course duration is for 45 to 50 days, and it can be stretched a bit because the content of the course is very huge. And if you request for more detailed explanation, if you feel like we also have some breakout sessions. What do you mean by breakout sessions here? Means like every 10 classes after, we will be conducting an assignment inside the class, within the class. So within that 1 hour, you'll be distributed into separate groups, and you'll have to solve that assignment within the class, so that we will get to know how we are performing in the course, so that we can get an idea and where you're weak, where you're strong, so that we can help you upskill yourself there. So it will approximately take 50 sessions, but it can stretch also, because we'll be putting a lot of breakout sessions. We'll be having a lot of quizzes also in the middle of the course, so as to get a better understanding of your concepts that we are learning.
Is this an online course? Like
it's a completely online course. It's a completely online course.
And the sessions are IST evenings?
IST evenings, 8 to 9, the same time.
IST evenings, okay. And just wanted to check, see all these programming language like C or OOPS that was like earlier, like since we do not have automation hands-on, these were part of our degree curriculum. However, we did not put into usage because of the varied kind of jobs that we did. So how seamless it would be for a person like for a beginner with little or no programming knowledge?
Yes, the course is designed for people who have little or no programming knowledge, because I'll be starting right from tools installation, right from project creation. The process is very seamless. If you can just cope up with the sessions, and if you cope up with the assignments that we are giving, and if you start questioning, if you start raising more and more queries, the process will be more and more seamless.
Okay, so even for an experienced professional like me, like ideally, I am basically into management, but this is out of my interest. I want to just learn, because everywhere in the market, what I see now, because I've recently relocated here and just thought of exploring the market, and wherever I go, I see more requirements. So I thought, let me also put in my hands here, though it is not mandatorily required for me. I'm put like out of my interest, I'm trying to. So I just wanted to check if I'll be able to focus, because programming and all was way long back in my degree, or very, very early years of my career. So I just wanted to check, like after joining, like it should not become a mess for me to
Yes.
handle. That is the reason I want to make sure before I commit to it.
Anita, the only thing I would request from you is whenever you're enrolling for this course, daily you have to invest your time of 1 or 2 hours to understand the subject. Because what I explain in the class, you have to spend at least 1 or 2 hours on a regular basis, daily basis to understand, to practice. If you're practicing on a regular basis, then this will be one of the most useful course for you, and you can escalate. I mean, you can elevate yourself as an automation architect in the future days.
Okay. And moreover, you'll be sharing the recordings, whatever you did on
Yes.
a day-to-day basis, and even after the course is over, we'll be able to access those, right? After
Yes.
the 50 days.
Yes. We will be able to access everything.
And Rahul, one question I do
One
have.
minute,
So,
1 minute,
what is
1
the
minute.
fees for this course?
Yeah, fees and all. I'll be sharing you the contact details. You can have a word with him. See, Kafka is something a different thing. That's a queuing mechanism. That's completely a different thing, Gaurav. And this is not part of automation. That is completely more of a development side. I can connect with you offline for this, but that's not part of the course. That's more for a back-end engineering stuff. The Kafka, whatever you're talking about, that's for a more back-end engineering stuff.
Any hard copy materials we'll be getting?
See, we'll be sharing you the GitHub repository of the code files that we are sharing, because having a hard copy of anything doesn't sound anything fun. Because at the end of the day, you need to be part of the GitHub ecosystem. Because if you're not part of the GitHub ecosystem, you will not survive in your organizations also. So that is where we'll be focusing some additional time on Git also. What is Git? What is the purpose of Git? What is the difference between Git and GitHub? What are the different tools that support Git apart from GitHub? What are the different Git commands that we need to know? And how do we perform the same GitHub actions via the IntelliJ editor? Because if you're working with IntelliJ, you need not remember all the commands. You can use the editor to push and pull the changes.
And would we be given any sample projects? Because if you say that you have undergone a course, like people here look for hands-on, right?
Yes,
So
for
any
that,
sample
for that,
projects that we can
yes.
showcase?
See, whatever data-driven framework I am preparing here now, I use some dummy websites. With the help of the dummy websites, I will be creating the framework. So the similar websites, you can showcase this on your GitHub profile, and you can say like, for this site, this is the end-to-end automation I have done. This is the kind of framework I have built, and these are the things you can showcase for yourself in your GitHub profile.
Okay. So end of the course, whatever we take, do you think it should be good enough to clear interviews and secure a automation job?
See, the course that has been designed here. We have been designed this course based on the current expectations from the current expectations from most of the organizations. I agree, there are some tools like Kafka, some of them ask for Kafka. Those are the rarest tools, but in general, you will be in a position to clear your interviews provided you solve all the assignments that we are sharing. You will be solving all the use cases, and if you are building your own framework by yourself within the due course of time, then you are in a position to crack the interviews.
Okay, because maybe you will be giving the dummy websites. I understand that is the like we will be able to do only that. But now most of the industry is focusing on SAP, e-commerce, like Salesforce kind of
Yes, yes,
applications, right?
yes.
So
Even
end of the course, based on your dummy website framework, do
Mm.
you think we'll be able to correlate that with the current market, like current industry, like for the
See,
e-commerce or the Salesforce?
see, Salesforce application also we can automate using Selenium. The only thing with Salesforce application is you have to debug your HTML code. You have to spend a lot of time on understanding the HTML code, because some Salesforce application have a lot of frames in it. Some Salesforce application do not have any frames for it. I have worked as a consultant for Cognizant where I have automated the Salesforce application. That will be slightly tedious, but you can do it because with the
Okay.
Selenium
Anyway,
concepts.
we have Tasca for Salesforce. I understand that, but
No, no,
I'm
no, no,
just
no. Again, I'm telling you, Tosca is not a right tool when you're going for production, because you're exposing your tunnels to the some random third-party tool. Clients won't agree to it. So that is why Selenium is always the right tool. Tosca is also not a right tool for Salesforce.
Oh, okay. Because of late I could see everywhere like Salesforce using Tosca as one of the requirement. Although I have
No.
good hands-on in SFDC, but not in Tosca. I thought, okay, let me also take up Tosca because I have a very good functional knowledge in SFDC and other CRM applications. So I thought Tosca would be additional feather in the
No.
cap to handle the CRM
Yes.
application. So I thought I'll also explore the demo of that.
Yeah, the thing with Tosca is it is always good. But you imagine that you're as an organization, would you expose your applications to some third-party tunnel? Because Tosca is a pay tool. Since it's a pay tool, you have to expose your gateways to the Tosca tool so that they act on over a network funnel. You got the point? Tosca is a great tool, amazing tool. I truly accept it. But if someone
Mhm.
asks you to set up a Tosca tool in the client VM, would your client will be willing to expose your tool to Tosca, no matter how much ever secure it is? You are exposing
Okay.
your clientele data to any paid tool.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Selenium,
got it.
that is why we go for any open source tool.
Okay, got it. Yeah, maybe I'm deviating from your
No,
schedule,
it's okay.
but
It's okay. It's
before
okay.
I commit to it, I should also like I should be knowing the pros and cons of the training, right? So
Yes,
I
yes.
just wanted to
See,
make it clear.
I don't mind answering all your questions. I don't mind stretching a bit. It's absolutely fine. You can ask a number of questions. We are here to answer you all kinds of questions. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, hi Rahul. So the same as whatever she is saying, the same as with me actually. I work on the Salesforce, but the functional part, and like I use Proverb actually, but
Mm-hmm.
ultimately the client denied that tool. So
I
now,
know. I told you the reason why. Because Proverbs is a paid tool. Why client will deny? From his kitty, have to spend on a tool. You imagine from a client perspective. If you say Selenium, yeah. Start working with Selenium. I will give you 6 months of time, but work with Selenium, they'll tell you.
yeah, so ultimately I need to switch on the that Selenium part. So my
Yes.
question is like will you be like provide some guidance or something to how to automate the cloud, basically the cloud applications, like
Like, could you be more
like
precise?
Salesforce.
Could you be
Hello?
more precise? Could you be more precise, Anuradha? What do you mean by cloud
Yeah,
application?
cloud application means that Salesforce only. So the basically I work in Salesforce functional
Hmm.
testing, and the same
See,
application I wanted to automate, and
yeah.
for that I'm joining as a for that I'm joining the Selenium course. So my point
Okay.
is like after the completion of course, or maybe the like along with other frameworks, if I start to automate Salesforce application, so am I be able to automate that using the curriculum you set? Uh,
Yes, we can start automating the Selenium application. When you say by a cloud application, the cloud application is deployed on a cloud server and you're using it like a normal website, right?
right.
Yeah, you can do it because any cloud application. See, even I work on a cloud application in I mean, not Salesforce, but technically I also work on an application which is deployed on a cloud only, on Azure clouds. But still, I automate the same application.
Okay. Yeah, because Salesforce have lots of frames which are
Yeah,
like
I'll tell you in depth about frames because I have the experience of working with Salesforce application. I know how difficult it is to find frames. You'll be seeing
Mhm.
them in the sessions.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, Hi Rahul, this is Manoj here. Are you
Yes.
able to hear me?
Yeah,
I
tell
just
me.
wanted to know that whether the report testing or database testing is possible with the help of Selenium.
Manoj, can you speak once again? You have a lot of disturbance.
With the help of Selenium, is it possible to do the report testing or database testing?
What kind of reports are we talking about?
Management MIS reports means we are
MIS
entering
reports,
them.
you cannot do it. Nah, see, if you want to do Power BI reports, if it is hosted on a web, we can try automating it because any MIS reports or any Power BI reports, now they're a pre-automated report. They have automated most of the activities for you. The only thing you need to check is you have to see that particular column is matching with the DB procedures. So that is where SQL concepts will come into picture. Where I'll be discussing you how to connect to the database, how you write your own queries, how do you use your inner joins to connect with the database, and you can do all sorts of testing. Even I used to write procedures for report-based testing. For any Power BI application in my previous projects, there was a separate domain called as report, where I used to write my own procedures only to test whether the application is giving the right data or not. But never automate any Power BI or MIS report application because that's already an automated reporting tool. That is only doing a lot of activities for you.
Okay. No,
See,
in my
even if
current
you,
in my current organization, we have some sort of report which was not generated by the Power BI. They have written some procedures. So procedure runs, the report will automatically exported in Excel and they send to management. So we have to validate those reports. This is on what front-end data has been entered. So we have
yeah, I totally
yeah.
understand. I totally understand. I totally understand your point, but from an organization perspective also, if you are doing the reports automation testing, the ROI for those kind of testing is very negligible because you will spend 1 year to automate those tools, but the ROI is negligible because you will not go in the client environment and you do it, right? Got it?
No, for our company, okay, we are the only client actually. And only
No,
for
the
IT
thing is,
development.
ultimately when you go to the production with the help of reports, as for my experience stage, no matter how much you do in internal QA, ultimately in the production data or UAT data, that is where the whole flunking happens.
At least we can have some SQL script to
Yeah,
execute
you
it
can
in
write,
the
you can
in the
use,
server and we can get it exported in Excel, right? That we can do.
we can do that. See, whatever data is there, you can put it in Excel, you can compare it with you can compare your Excel, you can do some sort of comparisons, but not completely. Because when I tried automating Power BI, I spent around 6 months to automate the Power BI or any MIS. But ultimately, what is my rate of investment? Nothing. It's completely negligible. So that's the reason I'm telling you. So we'll also be covering at the end, in order to wrap up the things quickly, we'll also be covering some Jenkins and Docker concepts at the end of the course as part of the CI/CD tools. So how do you run your code in the CI/CD tools using the scheduled environment, and how do you use the Docker or containerization concept to deploy the code? And if time permits and if everyone is interested, I will also showcase you how to use some EC2 machines to run your automation scripts. Amazon AWS EC2 machines, and how do you run your automation scripts?
Rahul, one query.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the organizations are looking for API testing rather than UI testing.
I forgot to showcase about API testing.
Okay.
Thank God you reminded me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, guys, if I'm taking additional time from your side. I'm so sorry. Just give me 5 minutes, guys. I'll showcase you what are the API testing topics. Thank you, Kishore, for reminding me. I almost forgot it. So, what are the different Postman session topics that we'll be covering? Because for any API testing, first we need to understand how do we get the use of Postman testing. So we'll be understanding what is Postman, what are the different API calls, what is this LDECG variable. That means these are the different kinds of variables in Postman. How do we script your test cases using the Postman tool? What is this data-driven testing? What is this Newman reporting? You'll be understanding all these things. So as we all know, Postman is one of the most popular tools that being used by 20 plus million users that allows you to send, receive, and analyze the API requests, and also support features like API key management, environment variables, and collaboration tools. Okay. First thing we need to understand about Postman is not about heading the API calls and checking the response. It's more than that. And the second goal that we want to achieve here is how do we script the test cases and how do we run the test cases using the data-driven test approach? And how do we run the same test cases using the Jenkins or any Docker? And what are the different API methods that we are covering? Get, put, post, patch, delete, head options. Okay. And we'll also be seeing some different examples. Okay. Just give me a moment. Then we'll be seeing what are the different variables that we are covering in Postman, because there are some concepts called like local variable, data variable, environment variable, collection variable, global variable. We'll be seeing all these things in detail. Okay. Then we will also be having a small assignment on this, on about the Postman topics. Okay, then we'll be seeing some fundamentals of JS. We'll be seeing what is this chai JS, well, how do we validate status codes and response headers? How do we validate the JSON schema? How do we pass the values to the next request? How do we set the values to the different collection variables, environment variables, data variables? How do we perform end-to-end scenarios? Okay, then we'll be seeing using JSON files, using CSV files. How do we use data-driven testing with multiple sets of data? How the API behaves with different set of data, what are the different kinds of authentication, basic, digestive, and also planning to cover some OAuth authentication using the Spotify application if possible. Then how do we run the script via the CLI model? How do we schedule the scripts using the Postman monitoring tool? And how do we prepare, how do we generate some extensive Postman related reports? And how do we push this Postman related scripts to the GitHub? And at the end, you will understand how do we tackle any kind of API requests and challenges during the API Postman. So Postman tool is having a greater importance here. So Revati, I've already elaborated on Cucumber prior. I'll elaborate on Jenkins if you want again. I've already elaborated on Cucumber in the previous slides. Then we'll also be covering some concepts about the rest assured automation testing. And this rest assured is a popular open source Java based automation testing framework that is useful for automating RESTful web services. And it's a widely adopted tool in the software testing industry. And we all know the benefits of it. It's a simple and intuitive API, allows testers to write test cases quickly. It supports for various HTTP methods and data formats, can be easily integrated with any CI/CD pipelines, allowing for automated tests and deployment of REST services. Okay, what are the different concepts that we cover for BDD approach, non-BDD approach, the query parameter, form parameter, path parameter, headers, how do we use JSON and different libraries, the POJO concepts, and uploading the files using the rest assured. We'll be discussing more use cases. We'll be discussing what is JSON schema validations. How do we generate the reports? Like how do we integrate the scripts with Jenkins and Docker to run the test cases in a scheduled manner? How do we generate Allure reports? And we'll also be seeing some SOAP UI. We'll be taking some SOAP UI application to understand how a SOAP UI works. So these are the extensive topics that we are covering for API testing, guys, using Postman, using rest assured. Because in the current market, if you see for API testing, they are asking you to have hands-on knowledge with both Postman and rest assured.
So in this, so we'll be getting hands-on experience in rest assured and Postman also, right?
Yes, yes. We'll be giving you some APIs to automate. You have to automate those APIs as part of the assignment.
Okay, fine.
Postman tool is not so simple as we think. There is a lot about Postman tool. You'll be learning a lot about it. And Revati, when it comes to Jenkins, we'll be covering it as part of the CI/CD model, where you'll be understanding how do we create a job, how do we trigger a mails, how do we schedule a job, and how do we send a mails to the respective persons. These are the main areas of focus. And how do we interlink multiple pipelines? And when it comes to a Docker, how do you create your own image? How do you push the Docker image to the Docker Hub? How do you pull and run your images? So those are the things I'll be covering at the end. I hope I've answered your question, Revati. So anyone else has any doubts, any queries?
So Rahul, just by the curiosity, just want to know. You said the client will not be allowed to use Tosca in production, right? But I have seen top MNCs like Infosys, Wipro are using Tosca.
That is what I'm telling you. They are using Tosca, but not at a production level. If you talk about TCS, Infi, or someone, they are using it, but not at a production level, because the clients are not asking maybe. Because as far as I see for the top product-based companies, like if you ask me about Walmart, if you ask me about Book My Show, if you see a top growth product-based companies, they won't allow us to integrate them in the client environment, because you're exposing your application to their tunnel. Even the test trigger tool, whatever we say, Ultimately, when I took it to a client of mine, biggest client like NatWest Bank in the Europe, they straight away rejected it.
So alternatively, what they do to
They ask you to work with Selenium only. No matter no matter whatever automation tools you work, ultimately they'll ask you to work with Selenium or Playwright. Because ultimately they also need to have the subscription of Tosca, right? Not only you, they should also have the subscription of Tosca, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm talking about some big clients where they have rejected this. I've worked with Optum Healthcare also as a contractor. They have straight away rejected any paid automation tool. Because Selenium is officially approved by W3C. If it is officially approved by W3C, why do I need to worry?
Got it.
So anyone has any more queries to clarify?
Rahul, are you going to cover any manual and just like brushing up manual concepts also?
I don't have any plan, Durga, on that. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. But if you want something about the manual, you can connect with me offline. I'll help you out on that.
Okay, fine. Yeah, because it's been long time. That's the reason I'm asking.
Yeah. But this is not part of the curriculum, but you connect
Yeah,
with me
okay.
offline. We can discuss on it separately. Okay.
Okay, fine.
So any more doubts, any more queries, everyone? Anju.
Rahul, the sessions will be scheduled from Monday to Friday or weekends?
Monday to Friday, night 8 to 9 p.m. IST.
Okay.
Any weekend only session?
Anita, okay. You can connect with me offline on this. As of now, this is the only thing, but you can connect with me offline on this.
Oh, okay, sure.
As of now, we don't have anything weekend, Anita, but you connect with me offline on this. We can have a word on this.
Sure. Because as of now, I am available, but I cannot say like how things goes in the next 2 months because the market is picking up.
See, it will take 2 months for us to finish this course.
Yes, I understand. So I like right now I'm okay, but I'm not sure like how things goes, right? So in case I get busy and occupied, I won't be able to dedicate morning 1 hour because that would be the office hours, right? Working hours
Yeah,
here.
I totally
So,
I totally understand. Weekend would be more longer than weekday. That is one thing I would
correct.
recommend.
Correct. I understand. Yes. No problem. I'll also try to connect with you offline to see if there are weekend options, or I'll try to accommodate in this session.
Sure.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you for being patient
Yeah.
and answering all the questions.
Thank you so much, Anita. And Monica, the course starts from tomorrow only. Tomorrow we'll be starting with the tools installation onwards. Right from tools installation, the course starts from tomorrow.
You said night 8 to 9 p.m., right? Not morning.
Swati, your voice is pretty low. Could you be a bit louder, please?
You said night 8 to 9 p.m., right? Evening
Yes.
8 to 9
Yeah,
p.m.,
8 to
not
9 p.m.
AM.
IST.
Okay.
What is the course fee?
Yeah, I'll be sharing the number with respect to the course fee and all. You can have a word with them. Okay.
Any resume building and Naukri?
Resume building, Naukri, we are not promising anything, but something I can do it out of the box because the most of the jobs you see now, it is uh, uh, because if you see now, LinkedIn is the right source for opportunities. Because if your LinkedIn profile is strong, personally, I can say that my job, most of the job openings are present on LinkedIn only. If you see for big companies, because Naukri these days is very few people are seeing. Because if you want a quality profile, they always go for the LinkedIn because you have their whole profile, whole history of the candidate.
Okay.
So LinkedIn is something that is more in demand in the current market.
So we'll be helping of resume
I
building.
I generally don't help. I generally don't help in LinkedIn, but that's something I'm doing it offline. I generally don't take it as part of the course, but I'll share you some ATS level resumes, some sample resumes that my candidates have cracked it. I can share some resumes of it. You can have a look at it, but the roles and responsibilities is what matters with any resume.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Like tomorrow onwards, core Java lecture will be started.
Tomorrow
right?
onwards, the tools installation will be started. Like, what are the tools required for the course? What are the right tools? We'll be doing a tools analysis. Tomorrow we'll start installing the tools, and if time permits, tomorrow we'll start the coding.
Like how to create logic and all. It's getting difficult.
Yeah,
to
everything.
create.
See, tomorrow everything is a step-by-step process, Revati. First, I'll start with the tools installation, like Git Bash, Git, everything will be there, followed by the core Java, then followed by the Git. Everything is a step-by-step process.
Okay.
Yeah. If no one has any doubts, then we can call it off for a day. I have shared the number in the group.
Thank you, Rahul.
Contact him for any
Thank
queries.
you. Rahul, you're there in that group, right? Like if I need to reach out to you offline
Yeah,
with
my number is there in the same group. You can reach out to me offline.
Okay, your Rahul and Kumar Gupta is for what? For the fees
For
and other
the
generic
fees and
questions, is it?
other generic questions, you can talk to Kumar sir. Any technical things, my number is there in the group. You can ping me.
Sure,
Same
sure.
link it will be. Same link it will be for a while. If there is any change in links, the team will update you in the group.
Sure, sure. Because it's starting from tomorrow only, right? So I need
Yeah.
to think of many things and logistics to see if I can really join from tomorrow. That's the reason I asked for weekend
Yeah.
options too.
Yeah,
No problem.
sure.
I'll try to connect with you offline, Rahul. Thank you.
Thank you. Any change in meeting links will be updating in the group officially. Okay. If there is any change. Until then, there won't be any change in the meeting link.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rahul.
Thank you, Durgarao.
Alright, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Swati.
Thank you, Rahul.
Thank you, Rahul.
Bye-bye. I hope no one has any doubts. Then I can call it for the day. Yeah. So thank you all for joining us. I expect you to see you tomorrow. So that we'll be learning more and more stuff. Whatever you've seen in theory, you'll be seeing everything in practical from tomorrow onwards. Thank you all. We'll have a great day tomorrow. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, thank you, Rahul.
Thank you.
Thank you.